If you've been around the racing genre long enough, then honestly, we should have seen this coming. For years, every time a new Forza Horizon game was announced, the same requests showed up everywhere. Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, forums, comment sections. One location kept appearing over and over again: Japan. It almost became a meme at some point. Every rumor, every leak, every wish list eventually led back to the same place. People wanted mountain roads, people wanted neon-lit cities, people wanted Tooge battles, people wanted the heart of JDM culture. And now, after years of asking, Playground Games finally delivered. What's fascinating is that the hype around Forza Horizon 6 started long before most people even saw gameplay. The location itself was enough to generate excitement. Think about that for a second. Most games need trailers, mechanics, and features to create hype. Forza Horizon 6 had players excited simply because of where it takes place. That's how powerful the idea of Japan was within the Horizon community. And honestly, it makes sense. The Horizon series has always been about fantasy. It's about driving dream cars through dream locations. Australia felt special, Britain felt unique, Mexico was beautiful, but Japan felt different. Japan felt like the missing piece. The place players had imagined for years but never actually received. The moment the setting became official, the entire conversation changed. Suddenly, people weren't asking if the game would be good. They were asking if it could become the best Horizon ever made. That's a completely different level of expectation. But here's the interesting part. A dream location can create hype. It can sell copies. It can dominate social media. But a great map alone doesn't guarantee a great game. And that's where things start getting really interesting. So why did people obsess over Japan for so many years? Why not another country? Why not another continent? The answer is actually pretty simple. Japan already feels like a racing game before you even turn on a console. Think about the culture surrounding cars there. Legendary manufacturers, iconic sports cars, drift culture, mountain roads, street racing history, car meets. Some of the most recognizable automotive locations in the entire world. Japan isn't just a place where people drive cars. It's a place where car culture became part of modern gaming history. That's why so many players instantly connected the idea of Japan with Forza Horizon. And Playground Games clearly understood the assignment. What makes Horizon special isn't realism, it's the fantasy version of reality. The version where every road is exciting, every corner leads to a beautiful view, every drive feels like an adventure. Japan gives the developers an almost unfair amount of material to work with. One moment you're flying through modern city streets filled with lights and skyscrapers. The next you're drifting down mountain roads surrounded by forests. Then suddenly you're driving through countryside roads that look completely different. The variety is insane. And that's important because Horizon lives and dies by exploration. Players need a reason to keep driving even when they're not racing. They need that feeling of wondering what's around the next corner. That's something Mexico did very well in Forza Horizon 5. But Japan brings an entirely different atmosphere, one that many fans have dreamed about for more than a decade. The result is a world that immediately feels fresh even to veteran Horizon players. But as impressive as the location is, another question quickly appeared inside the community. Is this actually the best Horizon game ever made, or are people simply falling in love with the map? Now we get to the question everyone is asking. Is Forza Horizon 6 actually the best Horizon game ever made? Because let's be honest, every new Horizon release enters the same conversation. The community immediately starts comparing it to the previous entries. People compared Horizon 5 to Horizon 4, they compared Horizon 4 to Horizon 3, and now Horizon 6 has entered the arena. What's interesting is that this time the conversation feels different. Usually a new Horizon game improves graphics, adds cars, introduces new events, and expands the map. That's expected. But Horizon 6 feels like a bigger moment for the franchise. The reason is simple. It finally combines years of community requests with a formula that was already working. The Horizon formula has always been incredibly strong. Fast progression, freedom of choice, massive festivals, hundreds of cars, a map designed to constantly reward exploration. The difference now is that many players feel the location finally matches the fantasy they always had in their heads. Suddenly, every race feels cooler, every road feels more memorable, every screenshot feels more shareable. That's powerful, because games are not just systems and mechanics. They're emotions, they're memories, they're moments players talk about years later, and that's where Horizon 6 is making its strongest case. The game isn't simply giving players more content, it's giving them the setting they spent years imagining. Of course, there are also improvements to the overall experience. More variety, more opportunities for exploration, more reasons to keep driving after you've finished your objectives. And that's important because a Horizon game should never feel like a checklist. It should feel like an endless road trip, the kind where you start driving toward one destination and end up discovering 10 other things along the way. That's always been the magic of Horizon. The question is whether Horizon 6 has finally perfected that formula. And surprisingly, not everyone agreed. This is where the conversation becomes really interesting. Because despite all the hype, not everyone is convinced that Forza Horizon 6 is automatically the best game in the series. In fact, if you spend enough time reading comments and community discussions, you'll notice two very different groups forming. The first group is absolutely in love with the game. For them, this is exactly what they wanted. Japan, better visuals, more content, more cars, more freedom. Their argument is simple. Why wouldn't this be the best Horizon? It takes everything people loved about the previous games and places it inside the most requested location in franchise history. That's a pretty strong argument. But then you have the second group, the skeptics, the players who look at Horizon 6 and say something interesting. They argue that the location is amazing, but they want more than just a new map. Some players feel Horizon reached its peak with Horizon 4. Others believe Horizon 3 still delivered the strongest sense of discovery. And some are asking whether the franchise needs bigger innovations to truly evolve. That's actually a fair debate, because when a series becomes successful, it also becomes predictable. Players start expecting more than improvements. They start wanting surprises. The fascinating part is that both sides have valid points. The fans are right to be excited. Japan changes the experience in meaningful ways, but the critics are also right to ask difficult questions about the future of the franchise. And honestly, that's a healthy sign. Communities stop debating when they stop caring. The fact that players are passionately arguing about Horizon 6 is proof that the series still matters. But while the community debates whether Horizon 6 is the best game in the franchise, something even bigger is happening behind the scenes, something that could completely change the future of Horizon itself. While fans are busy debating whether Horizon 6 is the best game in the franchise, something much bigger is happening. Forza Horizon is no longer just an Xbox racing game. It's becoming one of the biggest racing brands in the entire industry. And that's a massive shift. For years, Horizon was one of Xbox's crown jewels. If you wanted to play it, you knew exactly where to go. But now the audience is larger than ever. More players are discovering the franchise, more creators are making content around it, more communities are forming around car culture, racing events, and online experiences. And that's important because Horizon has always been more than a racing game. It's a social game. Think about how many people spend hours customizing cars, organizing cruises, taking photos, creating liveries, hosting events, meeting other players. The races are only one part of the experience. The community is the other half. That's why Horizon has remained relevant for so many years. The game gives players tools to create their own fun, and Horizon 6 arrives at a perfect moment. Gaming communities are more connected than ever. Streamers are constantly looking for games that generate memorable moments. Content creators need games that encourage creativity. Racing fans want places to show off their builds. Horizon checks every single one of those boxes. A beautiful map attracts players, a strong community keeps them there. That's the real opportunity Horizon 6 has in front of it. It isn't just trying to be a successful launch, it's trying to become the place where millions of players spend their time for years. And if that happens, the future of the franchise could look very different from anything we've seen before. And that brings us to the most exciting question of all. What happens next? Because Horizon 6 doesn't feel like the end of a journey. It feels like the beginning of a new chapter. Playground Games has spent years refining this formula. Open-world exploration, massive festivals, endless customization, freedom to play however you want. Horizon 6 feels like the reward for all those years of experimentation. But success creates new expectations. If Horizon 6 becomes the phenomenon many players expect, the pressure on Playground Games will only increase. Suddenly, the community won't just be asking where the next Horizon takes place. They'll be asking how the franchise evolves. Can social features become deeper? Can community events become larger? Can player creativity become an even bigger part of the experience? Those are the questions that will shape the future. And let's not forget the impact on the racing genre itself. For years, racing games have struggled to dominate the gaming conversation the way RPGs, shooters, and action games do. Horizon changed that. It proved that a racing game could be a blockbuster. It proved that driving could be as exciting as exploring a fantasy world. Horizon 6 now has the opportunity to push that idea even further. If it succeeds, it won't just influence future Horizon games, it could influence the entire racing genre. That's why this launch feels bigger than another sequel. It feels like one of those moments where a franchise either reaches a new level or stays where it is. And right now, all signs suggest Horizon is aiming higher than ever before. At the end of the day, what makes Forza Horizon 6 so fascinating isn't just the cars. It isn't just the graphics. It isn't even the size of the map. It's what the game represents. For years, Japan was the dream location. The place players talked about in comment sections, forums, and wish lists. The place many fans believed would never actually happen. And now it's finally here. That's why the excitement feels different this time. This isn't a community discovering a new Horizon location. This is a community finally getting the Horizon location they've imagined for years. Whether Horizon 6 ends up being the best game in the franchise is something only time will answer. The community will debate it. Players will compare it to Horizon 4. Others will defend Horizon 3. Some will argue that Horizon 5 deserved more credit. That's all part of what makes gaming communities great. But regardless of where the rankings end up, one thing is already clear. Forza Horizon 6 feels like a landmark moment for the franchise. A moment fans will remember for a very long time. And honestly, after years of waiting, it feels like Horizon finally arrived exactly where it was always meant to go. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Forza Horizon 6 will become the best Horizon game ever made? Or does Horizon 4 still hold the crown? And if you could add one feature to Horizon 6, what would it be? Let me know in the comments because I genuinely want to see where the community stands on this. And if you're excited about Forza Horizon 6, upcoming racing games, and everything happening across the gaming industry, make sure to subscribe and join us on the road ahead. Follow for more Forza Horizon 6 and gaming breakdowns.